Hello, I'm Jeff Thompson, President and CEO of IMA, the Institute of Management Accountants, and welcome to Unit 3 of our course, Improving Confidence in Sustainability Information. In Unit 2, we described the COSO internal controls framework, all 5 components of the cube. In this unit, Unit 3, we're going to be speaking more specifically about the top of the cube, the top component referred to as the control environment. So, in this unit, we're going to define the principles identified with the control environment component, and then we're going to relate aspects of this component and the principles to actual practice, and we're going to begin to introduce case studies. So, applying Principle 1, the control environment. Now, before we get started and describe all 5 principles, it's important to note what the general purpose is here of the control environment. And it's pretty much what it says. There has to be an environment established of high ethics, high principles, high core values. You might say, what does this have to do with an internal controls framework? What does it have to do with sustainability information? Well, in our profession, our great profession of accounting, ethics and core values are so fundamental to all we do that we start in the control environment with the organization's tone at the top, commitment to core values, to ethics, to whistleblower policies, all the things that give employees and other stakeholders confidence that if they see a defect, whether it's intentional or not, they have the confidence to report it and provides greater assurance that that risk, that issue will not become a problem. So, Principle 1 simply says the organization demonstrates a commitment to integrity and ethical values. Now, I should also say inside the actual framework documents, which are available online, there are what are called points of focus that help describe each principle in greater detail and how to implement and scale the application of that principle for your own organization's use. So, embed ethics into the business. Start with the most critical measures first. As it relates to sustainability information, the board of directors, the organization has to have a commitment to have a well-rounded set of performance measures to guide both internal performance and to help external stakeholders understand the future of the business. And of course, there should be some reporting mechanism. How is the organization doing as reported to its board on whistleblower, on breakdowns, on material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, et cetera, et cetera. So fundamental to the rest of the COSO framework, especially as it applies to sustainability information, which, as we've learned, tends to be longer term in nature, more qualitative, requiring professional judgment. So, Principle 2 of the control environment component is really where the board of directors and the tone at the top comes into play in a much more tangible way. So the board of directors demonstrates independence from management and exercise oversight of the development and performance of internal control. Now, independence doesn't mean that there's ineffective or bad contention. It means, though, that there is a level of professional skepticism. The board, in its independent oversight role, as the company determines what should be its financial information that it will report, what should be its sustainability information that it should report, the board has an oversight responsibility to be professional skeptics, to embrace a culture of challenge, to ask management the hard questions. Is this the right information? Sustainability information and financial information that we really need to understand, that we really need to assure, that we really need greater confidence in. So the role of the board of directors is absolutely critical in tone at the top. The board of directors should demonstrate a strong commitment to sustainability information and what sustainability means for investors and other stakeholders. That short-term financial information is not the whole story of value generation, capacity, and creation. As we said earlier, independent oversight on the nature and quality of sustainability information. The board of directors, often through their audit committee, should have a review of the effectiveness of internal controls over both financial and non-financial information, realizing that there might be a different level of assurance for financial information, which is more quantitative and short-term, and non-financial or sustainability information, which is more judgmental, more qualitative, longer term in nature. And then finally, provide reasonable assurance, just like financial information, over material sustainability information. Now that word material is very, very important in both the financial world and the non-financial world. What does material mean? And we'll talk about that as we move forward. Principle 3 in the control environment component, more on board oversight. With board oversight, management establishes structures, reporting relationships and lines, and appropriate authorities and objectives and responsibilities in the pursuit of objectives. So this is the accountability or the governance structure that we're really honing in on here in Principle 3, as it applies to both financial and non-financial information. Now, the NACD has given significant guidance in this area. NACD, again, is the National Association of Corporate Directors in the US, and there are similar organizations around the world. So they say many things. We're not going to read every word here, but basically, there should be agreement and alignment on the definition of sustainability in pursuit of the organization's objectives and overall strategic plan. What is the message? What is the organization's societal purpose? How does it value innovation? How does it value and measure customer success? How does it measure employee engagement and retention? How do they nurture and grow employees? How do they ensure that we properly communicate to stakeholders sustainability information that affects the future value and worth of the enterprise? So in summary, directors need to establish parameters for sustainability reporting to the board regarding the information to support robust discussions with management. And in the world of financial performance, the audit committee plays this role. And this is why sustainability information is still very much a nascent process. From a governance perspective, how and where should that be governed for non-financial type information? Is that the role of the audit committee? Well, certainly that's a decision and discussion for the board and senior management to have. Furthermore, in applying Principle 4 within the control environment, Principle 4 talks about a commitment to attract, develop, and retain individuals competent in alignment with objectives. So now we're in the world of competence and talent management. You know, in the world of accounting, sourcing talent is very, very challenging, much like it is in the world of technology, IT and IS. And the reason that sourcing competent talent is so challenging is because the role of definition of accounting has changed over time. Accounting is not just historical information in bookkeeping and record keeping. It increasingly is forward-looking value creation type of activities, what management accountants do. So we need competent individuals who can span bodies of knowledge like finance, accounting, operations, and strategy. So as it relates to internal controls over sustainability information, we need properly equipped, educated, and maybe even certified professionals who can help raise their game. So, tone at the top, what the control environment's all about, demonstrating a commitment to competence, cultivating a culture of continuous learning and growth. You know, the business environment is moving at such a fast pace with automation and robotics and artificial intelligence. And we have to make sure that our infrastructure, accounting, and technology keep up. And of course, succession planning. Internal controls is no less important than any other activity which requires segregation of duties, succession planning, making sure we have the next level of competent individuals to assure information going out for public consumption. And then finally, last but not least, within the control environment in this unit, is the Principle 5, which is holding individuals accountable for internal controls. In the world of internal controls over financial reporting, there are many governments and societies that require a formal attestation that you have no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. We're suggesting that there be a similar conversation as it relates to sustainability information, realizing that the type of information is much different, more qualitative, longer term, requiring more judgment. So, align accountability for sustainability reporting to avoid a one-off approach. What does that mean? In many organizations, as they begin to develop and understand this non-financial performance data, which investors are asking for, the question is, who owns that data? Who manages it? Today, in many organizations, it's the CFO team, it's the CSR team, corporate social responsibility team. It might be part of investor relations, part of public relations. So we would suggest, and we'll cover this a little bit later, that the CFO team is not the only owner, but is very much in the role of being the quarterback, being the facilitator, understanding the flow of information and value, sourcing information from ERPs and CRMs and the like. So the CFO is not the exclusive owner, but certainly should play a pivotal role in managing both financial and non-financial data. So our case study here, and there's many case studies in the thought paper that underlie this whole open SAP course, is Novo Nordisk. Novo Nordisk, as many of you might know, is a Denmark-based pharmaceutical company. In 2016, about $16 billion in revenue. Novo Nordisk, as I said earlier, is a global healthcare and pharmaceutical company based in Denmark, specializing in treatment of diabetes, hemophilia, growth disorders, and obesity. A very well-regarded company. Now, before I summarize this case study within the control environment, if you look at the columns to the far right, these are how we define sustainability information. Remember, this whole Open SAP Thought Leaders series is about how the COSO internal controls framework applies to sustainability information, realizing that there's many definitions out there of sustainability information. Well, we group sustainability information into 5 basic domains: environment, social capital, human capital, meaning talent, business model and innovation, and leadership and governance. The softer skills, the non-financial type measures. So, Novo Nordisk is a very, very interesting company. Talk about tone at the top and embracing the commitment to a societal purpose backed by reasonably assured non-financial or sustainability information. In 2014, they incorporated the notion of a triple bottom line in its articles of association. These are your governing documents. These are your bylaws. This is really where you put in the hard and fast rules that govern the future of the organization. So in 2004, they actually incorporated the triple bottom line concept, which essentially is profits, people, and planet. Profits we all know about. Every organization has an accountability there, but as early as 2004, Novo Nordisk recognized the multifaceted nature of our capital markets and how we need to enable those markets. So they strive to conduct their activities in a financially, environmentally, and socially responsible way. And boy, how much more hardcore can it get by incorporating that into your bylaws and policies, making it a way of life, tone at the top. In 2008, it actually leveraged the COSO internal controls framework to take the balanced scorecard and integrate sustainability objectives. The balanced scorecard is very much like the sustainability information we've talked about. It says there's more to business value generation than financial. There's customer, there's operations, there's innovation. And so the balanced scorecard is a very, very important part of this equation, in driving performance forward. But look at what Novo Nordisk did in terms of aligning the COSO internal controls framework and assuring activities and KPIs within their balanced scorecards. And they finally say that it considers these actions building processes to make sure everything is right. Everything, not just financial information, but sustainability information as well. So that concludes Unit 3, focusing on the control environment. Stay tuned for Unit 4, which will focus on another component of the COSO internal controls framework, risk assessment. Thank you.